Luciano Pavarotti, he's already a solidified legend for his voice.
Yeah, I mean, he was an absolute weapon back in the day for the opera. I mean, an absolute smasher.
Yeah, rising to fame in the 70s for his voice. But for me, this guy's just been elevated to God tier level.
He's already a god, so I'm curious to see how this guy could be even boosted slightly.
Well, he's a secret snacker.
Really?
Callum, which hits close to my heart. But during performances, mainly at the Met, he had little backstage snacks where he'd hide snacks in the wings of the, next to the stage.
Sure.
And between breaks, he would run off stage, grab a snack. But these aren't just any snacks.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not talking like, a couple crackers. He was having full-blown pastas, his favourite pastas. He came in with alfoil trays of his favourite pastas. Go in, have a chomp. He had 3 requests apparently for each show he did, and that was 2 of his favourite bowls of pasta.
Yeah.
Parmesan cheese and salami.
I saw this and I read that someone described it as mounds of salami pasta and all these things. And he was a big lad. He was 150 kilos. He was a big eater. He loved it. And it really humanises him, I guess, because the opera seems so fancy and so well intact and put together. The fact that this man is scrambling off, this icon of opera is scrambling off to the sides to down himself with a fork of rigatoni. It's very relatable.
It's dangerous as well because his signature look is, the tuxedo, but white shirt, white bow tie. If he's having tomato-based sauce, man, he must be one clean eater. That's all I got to say.
He must be an athlete of eating to eat it that quick and not get any on your opera blouse.
Yeah, but, there were other times where he wanted to cut back when he was on a bit of a diet, and that would be he would have off to the side chicken, beans, mashed potatoes, with a follow-up of 3 scoops of ice cream.
Right, so he had to get the ice cream in still.
This bloke really loved food. I mean, even on his deathbed, his ex-wife came in and he managed to persuade her to get him some spaghetti bolognese. That was his final meal.
That's how they tried to check if he was actually dead in the morgue. They just put a bit of a penne on top of his nose. See if he could get a whiff and wake up.
Yeah. Even his manager described his 4 loves in order was music, women, food, and then football.
This guy is this
guy's an animal. Yeah. That's what he is.
It's just relatable, isn't he?
Yeah. But what we want to do is open up the text line here. What's your secret snack, Adelaide? I remember back in school, I used to shove one of those little tiny bags of Oreos down my sleeve.
Yeah.
And in class, I'd, rest my head on my hand and just take Oreos out of my sleeve and eat them one by one.
Some days you didn't even have to use your other hand and you just suck it up like a vacuum.
Yeah.
Just through the cylinder of the Oreo wrapping. But I mean, speaking of secret snacks, I guess a lot of people do it in their cars. I mean, on the way to work, you might have a little glove box container full of nuts and chips, things like that. What about people that eat popcorn in places that aren't the cinema?
Yeah.
And they bring it into work as a secret snack.
Yeah, weird. And they always try to hide it too because they know, when someone has popcorn, that's a sharing food.
Oh,
so the
time.
people that bring popcorn out of the cinema, they're always hiding it from everyone else.
It's a shameful act to eat it by yourself.
Somebody's texted in here saying, "G'day boys, used to steal a whole sleeve of biscuits when I was a lad and eat them all in my room when I was meant to be asleep. Got caught once, got the belt."
Jeez, medieval punishment. Probably stole some bread as well. Got this one here. I've taken KFC Go Bucket into my purse, into a club more times than I'd like to admit. The smell is a dead giveaway, but what's better than dancing while getting some finger-licking goodness?
Jeez.
Wow.
I don't know about that. Got another text here. My younger brother doesn't like wholemeal bread, which is the household loaf. So he comes home from school twice a week with a white loaf and hides it somewhere. None of us know where.
Don't worry, it's not for me. I'm just taking a liking to feeding the ducks. It's all good. It's just a newfound hobby. I'm not eating the bread. Got this one here. My misso has banned me from dessert after dinner as I'm on a diet. Sad.
That sucks,
It does suck. Little does she know there's a box of favourites in our bathroom cupboard that I'm always snacking on when pretending to shower. That
in
sucks.
The bathroom?
That's it is shameful once you have to take it to the bathroom, right?
Yeah. Hey, we've got some secret snackers on the line. Tim and Jack in Mount Osmond. Good morning, guys. How are we?
Morning, guys. How are you?
Very good.
Yeah, good, thank you. Now, who's the secret snacker out of you two?
So Jack, and he's 8. He, underneath his school uniform in his cupboard, he has 3 different kinds of chips open and just left in such a mess it's not funny. And also some lollies. What lollies, Jack?
Mint and some favourite.
Jack seems like he knows his priorities.
Jack's got it figured out.
Pretty diverse on the chips. I mean, 3 going at once.
Jack, have you got any other secret spots in your bedroom where you have some food?
Don't tell him, Jack, otherwise I'll find it.
Yeah. You're going to be outed in front of your dad. Don't say anything, Jack.
I love how Tim's got his back, though.
We're the pride of South Australia, and we're known as the Adelaide Crow. We are Geelong, the greatest team of all. The West, red, white, and blue. We're from Tigerland.
Fresh footy tipping on Fresh 92.7. Sponsored by Thirsty Camel.
That's it, Callum. Another round of footy is done, which means another round of our footy tips is done. Remember, you can still join our footy tipping competition if you head to our website, fresh927.com.au. A little late in the season now, but if you've been doing it on other competitions, your tips will carry over. Callum, of course, Gather Round.
Yep.
What another huge success it was. 8 out of the 9 games had a larger attendance than last year's Gather Rounds across Norwood, Mount Barker, Adelaide Oval. Norwood was a huge success with the Food and Wine Festival, and they are saying the AFL CEO has come out and said Norwood is definitely in the scope for plenty more Gather Round games next year, as well as the Barossa getting a Guernsey.
Yeah, it's so awesome. And seeing on the news how many people were down in that Norwood area, it's absolutely killer. And for good reason. I mean, there's so much buzz around town of all the different games. And they were cracking games as well.
Absolutely.
They weren't just ordinary, boring games. They were quite decent.
No, well, it started off Thursday night with the Crows yet again losing by 15 points to Melbourne.
This was frustrating because you went to that game and your parting words to me, because I was doing the footy tipping, you were like, hey, I recommend you do the Crows. They are my favourite team. I think they'll do a good job. I'll trust you.
No, that's not what happened. Don't lie to the Fresh fam.
not lying.
You were with me when we got that insider tip.
Said.
We got that insider tip from someone saying the brother of Jack Viney, who's a Melbourne player, was in the pub and said they've been Melbourne Football Club was treating their time here in Adelaide like a holiday. They'd stayed here since the week before with Port, and they were treating it like a holiday. He didn't think they were going to take the Crows seriously. That was the insider tip we both got, but they did lose. They lost in the end. Port Adelaide got up by 69 points to Essendon. But Callum, it's time to look at the tips, mate. We are currently on 219 on 26 points. We've moved up from 211. Kale and Mags are still stagnant on 371.
Thank
They're
God.
on 23 points, so we're beating them. And Taylor Mazzino, for your work day, she was on 162. She has gone up to 226. So we are in first place at the moment out of the Fresh team.
Hey, how they all crumble. I mean, Taylor was destroying for a little bit there on a few flukes, but obviously it's caught up to her. Nice to see us in front.
Yes, absolutely. And then the top of the leaderboard, we've got Kelly R, or Yes KR, on 31 points, tied with Good Tipper 55, James J. They're both on 31. And then Lisa M is on 30 points in third place. And geez, it's tight up that end of the competition right now. The top 16 spots are on 30 points.
Oh, imagine being up there. I think that would be an absolute nail biter to see what happens. And of course, if you are in those spots, you are likely to get a prize. So keep up the good work.
Absolutely. With Tom Callum, that's the footy tipping for the week. Everyone that went to Gather Round, hope you had a great time. It's back again next year, of course.
Tom, as you know, I moved into a new rental recently.
What? No, you never bring it up.
Left the nest, the vulture's nest. But nah, they're good.
What, your parents? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Yeah. No, but it is cool, like, going into a new house. I guess you're not dictated by your parents' decor, I noticed, because, I guess growing up your whole life, the only thing you really have control of is kind of your bedroom. Everything else, I guess your parents call the shots of, like, the decor in the living room, stuff like that. They choose the carpets, what the couches are.
Well, they bought the house, so fair enough.
They are entitled, I will admit that. But it got us thinking about these weird things, these weird bits of furniture, stuff that you just wouldn't have in the house, because you do start to notice it. When you go into your own place, you think, well, how did I live like that with my mum's Shane Warne collection bobbleheads and,
Yeah.
these weird collections and things that your parents bring home?
Yeah, and I guess that's what we're getting into is more so like, you got to split this up with your partner and you can't say no to everything, but I guess your partner might bring in something that you absolutely hate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got a roommate now and I've whipped out my beanbag. It's a cow print beanbag and she absolutely hates it.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It's apparently tacky. It doesn't suit the house.
I wonder why people are calling you a cowboy behind your back.
But I think back to my parents, one of the big hitters, something that my dad brought home, and I feel like everyone brought one of these home in the early 2000s that would have pissed off someone in the house, was the Billy Bass fish thing that you put on the wall.
Oh, this thing.
I just remember my mum absolutely spitting it when that thing came home.
Where did it hang? Right above the dining table?
In the office, above the computer.
I mean, I know my grandma, she has a whole room full of like dolls
Hate that.
and I don't mean like, I'm not exaggerating here when I say full of dolls. There's at least like 50 dolls. They're these creepy little dolls all set up over the bed. They cover the entire bedspread.
See, I feel like older people like that who have a doll collection and it's creepy weren't in the era when they were buying those dolls where things like Chucky and stuff had come out to make them villains. They were kind of just cute and simple.
Yeah.
But now in our era, we think, holy crap, I would never have that in my house.
I'm not going into that room ever again.
I can't sleep.
But I mean, we're looking for partners here that hate something that your partner might have brought home. What do you hate in your house, Adelaide?
We had our Smurf text in. She said all the crow's scarves
Well, that's just
that are in the house.
ridiculous, Smurf. Ridiculous.
Another text here, Tom. My boyfriend brought home a Pokemon quilt cover that was $100, and it's the most colourful thing you've ever seen. It clashed with everything. It was so ugly. It lasted a week before getting banned from our house. You know what's funny about these texts as well is that I feel like all these items are so polarizing. You're gonna have a clear split of who loves this stuff and who doesn't. That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, you know what? That's a tyrant in the household there, banning the Pokemon quilt cover. Let the man live.
Have a bit of fun. Let him have the Pikachu
It's
on the bed.
Consider it a centerpiece. Sure, it clashes, but it's a talking point.
It's avant-garde.
It's
Pokemon.
an icebreaker.
Yeah.
Got another text here saying, my mum has "it's wine o'clock somewhere" as a sign in our kitchen. I cringe every time.
Jeez, that's one of those ones you see in the homewares shops all the time. It is a classic that got an absolute run, a few years back.
I hate to say it, but I reckon Dad's got a beer o'clock one up in the shed.
Changing it up a bit. So my grandpa has Humpty Dumpty salt shakers that he proudly displays on the kitchen bench. Hey, that's nifty. That doesn't sound too bad at all.
So far, there's nothing on the text line that I've, thought is that polarizing. I'm down for the Humpty Dumpty salt and pepper shakers. You know what we used to have? We used to have this sauce lid that you'd chuck on. It was like a face of someone. When you squeeze the sauce out, it like came out the nose.
Oh, I had that as well. It was a vampire, and the blood had the red tomato sauce would come out the fangs.
Yeah.
Once again, something my mum hated.
Yeah.
But the novelty did get a spin for a few good weeks there.
It's a talking point.
Yeah.
Another text here. My husband bought this insanely uncomfortable couch because it goes with the room, he says, but it has zero functionality. There's no possible way to get comfortable on it.
Yeah, right.
All right, well, that
Uncomfortable
one's
couch.
polarizing. I don't understand the point of that. Then.
I think this one is also quite polarizing. Our last text here, someone said, my dad brought home a family doormat that says, I like it dirty. Every time someone comes to the door, they don't laugh and he cracks the same joke. I think about setting it on fire every day.
Those people coming to the door not laughing, that don't let them inside the house.
They're not worthy.
They're not worthy.
You can learn a lot from TV shows, but one in particular has been, I guess you could say, a pinnacle of education for a lot of us over the years, especially, those early 2000s, 2010s, and that's Mythbusters.
I used to love watching Mythbusters.
It's a great one.
Especially when they they did the movie specials, the James Bond one.
Oh, how good. Yeah,
so much fun.
Movie ones were good, but have you ever thought that Mythbusters could save somebody's life?
No, it hadn't crossed my mind.
Well, this happened to this bloke, John Galvin, over in America. He was actually sentenced to prison for 35 years.
Jeez.
And it was for first-degree murder. So pretty much,
right, okay.
He got in the raps of it's kind of confusing, but got in the raps with other people where he pretty much got accused of setting an apartment building on fire.
Right.
Yeah, and it killed 2 people. So he went to prison for that, and pretty much under the pressure of the circumstances, whatever happened, he admitted a false confession to using a cocktail Molotov.
Right, so he was maybe pressured into it or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and he said that he used a cigarette to light up this cocktail Molotov, and however it happened, it lit the building on fire. And that's what he went to prison for a sentence of 35 years.
How long did he serve?
So pretty much, right, he's sitting in his prison cell. He's done 21 years on the block.
Yeah, right.
In prison.
Okay. Jeez.
And he's in his cell. The story goes that he's watching Mythbusters on the TV. And then this episode comes up, and I think it was one of those movie ones because it was looking at this movie called Payback where someone uses a cigarette to light a Molotov cocktail.
Yep.
And they were looking at this movie, and pretty much they said you cannot light a Molotov cocktail with a cigarette.
Yeah,
it's
right.
impossible. So he's watching it after, making this false confession back in the day for whatever reason.
Probably regretting it 21 years later.
Probably regretting it, and he's used a cigarette. He is now watching this episode and probably sprung out of his bed and thought, holy crap.
Myth busted
to a new extreme. I cannot be condemned anymore.
And what, he got off?
I'm getting out of here.
And he got off?
He got off. So he rang up his lawyer, and coincidentally, the lawyer was watching the same episode that night, and they both thought, oh my God, we should have looked into the science of this. There's a bit more to it, and you cannot light a Molotov cocktail with a cigarette. So he got off. He got out of his sentence just because of Mythbusters.
Mythbusters educating young people and freeing people from prison.
Keeping them out of prison.
What a great show. There is nothing worse than not being home for a package delivery, right?
Definitely.
And there's nothing worse when you're not home for that package delivery and then it gets stolen. For me, it's not even about, the money that I've just spent on whatever I'm waiting for. It's the time that I've spent waiting.
And it's also, you're in a vulnerable position. You've got a package out the front. You can't do anything about it. You're at work, you have family, whatever. You just hope that everyone will be civilized.
Yeah.
You don't want any bandits going around just taking your package. It's horrible.
Absolutely not. It's the time spent waiting for the package that would bug me the most whenever it's been stolen.
And we all know packages are rarely on time. There's always a little kerfuffle.
There's always a delay, yeah. And for this next story, we're going to travel over to California, where this person has perfected the skill of hiding in plain sight. This is a story, Callum, of a thief, a dirtbag. This is a story of a porch pirate.
So what have they done? How have they pulled this off successfully? Are they just going around stealing packages? What's the go?
Well, it was pretty successful up until they were caught on CCTV of someone out the front of someone's house. Basically, this person has disguised themselves as a garbage bag. One of those, a classic black garbage bag. However, they've cut the bottom out and they sort of crouch walking and then they'll stop.
Yeah.
And, let the bag sit there and then they'll crouch walk. Then they'll squat over the package. This is what's caught on camera. They get up to the package out the front of someone's door, squat over it, pick it up, and then get back up and walk away with the package.
A reverse chicken laying an egg. Like they just suck up the package.
Yeah, it's really giving like Snake from the Metal Gear Solid games where he hides in a box.
It's crazy though, isn't it? Like, and you would hope that this person's doing it for a prank as a once-off.
It's not a prank.
It's a funny thing. But if this is what they're doing with their time, get a job. What are you doing going around as a garbage bag stealing people's packages?
I mean, you could say that to most criminals.
But there's a lot of thought into this one.
Yeah, there is a lot of thought. But no, they still haven't been caught yet. They're still on the run. But this is over in California. What a creative way. But just why?
I wonder if they add a little bit of realism to it in case there are cameras. If it's a windy day, they just start rolling around. Be a bit of a tumbleweed.
I think the feet walking gives them away.
It's pretty obvious off the bat.